So last week, if you listened, we talked about McHenry Rising Stars, McHenry preseason ID, and the Lake Zurich preseason ID. On Monday we had the Lockport preseason ID and Chicago preseason ID. Then on Wednesday we had the Peoria preseason ID. We have not talked about those three events yet. So today we're going to be talking about those three events ahead of this weekend's events that we have. So I think we're going to start with Monday's Lockport preseason ID. And Tyler, I see you've got your top overall prospect. What do you got there?
Yeah. So again, similar to O'Hare, I saw basically every infielder came across my field, hit, did defense, and one name kind of just stood out among the rest when I was going back looking over all my notes, and that was Alec Gilson, an uncommitted 2027 out of Marmion Academy. He's 6'1", 173. The frame looks right. Looks like a guy who can continue to add strength as he continues to mature. But ran a 6'8", 560. And then offensively, right-handed hitter. Just kind of loved how athletic the swing looked. With easy jump off the barrel. He averaged 90.6 off the bat and topped out at 100.3. A guy that, and I know this kind of been like a buzzword for me this winter, I feel like, but a guy who wasn't selling out, like I know I've said that a lot the last couple of weeks, but that's the type of stuff that just kind of jumps out to me, are these guys that don't have to, be super aggressive to reach, exit velocities. And that wasn't Alec. So kudos to him. And then defensively, like, again, athletic. Seemed pretty fluid, like a kid who can definitely stick up the middle at the next level. And he was up to 83 across the infield, but another guy who's like, not crow hopping in the infield or anything. It's nice and easy, and just a guy that, curious to see how he does this spring after we saw him this winter.
Yeah, and then mine, Tyler, was right-handed pitcher Gavin Shimizu, 2028 from Yorkville. If I botched that name, I apologize, but it was just a really polished pen. I really like the mover. It's athletic. He was 6'1", 183 pounds. Quick arm. His fastball was 85 to 87. Through a curveball and a slider. His curveball was more 11-5 shape or 12-6 shape, and then his slider was more like 11-5, maybe a little more horizontal. But they both averaged like 2,500 plus RPM. His changeup had some fade to it, but just with like his current polish, the frame, the way that he moves, everything about it, like it seems like a guy that has a ton of upside for a 2028. And we'll just keep seeing how he progresses here, and he's one that I'm going to keep an eye on moving forward.
I can hop right into the next topic. If I don't know if anybody else has a top overall prospect, feel free to cut me off. But the next route I wanted to go is just best defender I saw in the infield. And at this event, that was infielder Colton Carley, another uncommitted 2027, this time out of Providence Catholic, and for me, it was just how comfortable he was with his hands. It was confident hands. Like, to me, like, and I'd be curious Drew's thoughts on this, because one, he played the position in college, and then also he coached it at a high level. But when I see a guy, this up the middle ball we do at our showcases, I feel like you can tell a lot about how confident a kid is in their hands with how they approach that ball up the middle. Like, the guys that kind of just field it like with one hand in stride, like it's nothing. Like, to me, it's like, okay, like that kid's confident. Like he trusts himself to make any play on the field, basically. And that's exactly, if like we show that video in this, Gavin, I don't know if I'm teeing you up on the production side of this, but like his ball, he fields up the middle. To me, it was like, okay, wow, like this kid knows what he's doing. And then he was up to 86 across the infield as well. And to me, that was really impressive due to his stature. So, just a guy that I was very impressed with defensively.
To get to your point, Tyler, like I could probably take this and talk about it for hours, but like we do our specific ground ball routine like for a reason, right? Like I think everything kind of shows you a little bit different stuff, whether it's the ball up the middle to see how they play on the move. A lot of times too, it's like the feel in the arm. Like that ball up the middle is not the time to like take that ball and crow hop 12 times and throw it over the top where you're, 90 feet from first and you're kind of handcuffing them. Like it's like, show us your feel, show that you can, maybe throw from multiple platforms, have a quick release, and then we take that right into the double play ball. And that's kind of the same thing. Like we want to see the the turn, and like kind of like the jump turn type play, and then the backhand and the run through really tells you a ton as well about body control and athlete and how they approach the baseball. So no, I think you're spot on with all that stuff, and it does give you a level of feel on the guy, and to hear that about Colton Carley, like that's a guy I'm going to be locked in on moving forward. That to me just tells me, hey, this guy's got feel for the infield. He's probably got a future on the dirt.
Yeah, and Tyler, I'm just gonna stick on him because I had him mentioned down in my data darling because his fastball is up to 90 on the mound. Same thing. Like it's good to know he's an athlete up the middle. On the mound is like you said, it's a he's 5'9", 169. It's like a stronger, more compact frame, but the athleticism moved to the mound as well. It's loose. It's like really quick arm, 88 to 89, touch 90 with the fastball, and then his curveball was like 72 to 75, and he kind of found it in the lower part of the zone, in and around the zone. I wouldn't say it was consistent strikes, but the changeup was mid 70s, had some sinking action. So yeah, just really interesting uncommitted arm there. And then you liked him on the infield too, which is good.
I mean, that's huge for just Providence in general, because they graduated a ton of seniors last year. They're going to be looking for guys to help out, probably all over the place, like two-way
Well,
guys.
and
But
especially on the
yeah,
mound, Drew. Like,
yeah,
and I know they're probably going to be younger there this year, but got to be exciting. The fact that got this 27 coming up who's touching 90, like, great problem to have for Coach Smith over there because I mean their rotation is going to be really good this year. I know we'll eventually get there at a later episode, but yeah, to your point.
yep. And guys that are certainly like ready to step in for sure, but maybe just don't have those innings and experience under their belt. So should be an interesting year for Pravi. But yeah, that's one that we talk about. Like, man, guys that have emerged this winter at preseason IDs, like that's exactly what we're talking about. A guy like Colton Carley.
Then Drew, it looks like you got a data darling you want to touch on out of St. Charles
Sure,
North
yeah.
here?
If you wanna go down there, we definitely can. At Lockport, we got a lot of things going on with the number of players that we have kind of rolling through that event. So I'm bouncing around, watching as much as I can, watching some hitting field, some defense. One bat that I did get an eye on that caught my eye was left-handed hitter Caden Gabriel at St. Charles North. He's a 2028, compact, strong frame, and it was just definitely one of the louder bats of the day. Certainly, as far as what my eyes saw, but like it was multiple triple-digit exit velocities off the bat. It was extremely like big, loud, strong power to the pull side. Now it was like very pull heavy. It was like I kind of know who I am. I've got power. I'm gonna show it off type of swing. Those guys are dangerous. Like don't miss a fastball to them in the zone, or they're gonna make you pay. That's the kind of vibe I got from Caden. Had a 403 max distance, led the event. So data darling wise, like he's at the top of a lot of leaderboards there when it comes to the BP. Ran a 7.2060, and he's just a bat that he's a 2028 left-handed hitter with that kind of power. Like, let's go see what that looks like in a game. Who knows at St. Charles North if he'll even get a chance to play varsity this year. Like they're always super deep. It's hard for underclassmen to play there, but if we don't see him this spring, like we'll be locked in on him hopefully this summer at one of our events.
Yeah, and then we can move over to upside underclassmen. Hammy, you were kind of talking about just how you might be more excited for the underclass at this year's All-State. And like to me, like I know I've said it before, but one of the best part about our preseason ID events are like these freshmen and these sophomores that kind of come out of nowhere that maybe we've never seen before, or guys have just gotten way better since we last saw them, maybe at like a Rising Star event or something. But infielder Antonio Britton, 2029 out of Homewood Flossmoor, another school we've seen a bunch of this winter, seen a lot of their guys in a school I think we're all really high on entering the spring. But this is a freshman, had a huge overall day. Gab, I know you're going to touch on his pitching here in a second, but what I saw offensively, he's a right-handed hitter. It's an athletic look in the box. He's got a flatter swing, and he topped out at 90 off the bat, but I just kind of liked it. It was simple, line drive, approach, not trying to, overswing or anything like that. And then defensively, like, I feel like he had quality and, like, advanced actions for his age up the middle. He was also 83 across, so like those types of things. I know we've said before, like those tend to get better with age. And he also ran a 70160, which is another thing that tends to get better as these kids get older. So really like what I saw offensively and defensively. But Gavin, I know he threw the ball really well for you as well.
Yeah, it's kind of the same look. Not a ton of effort. Athletic kid, moved well down the mound. Minimal effort with the arm. It has some quickness out front, up to 83. The off speed is still kind of developing, but he's 2029. You have a ton of time for that to develop. So really the most important thing is just the way that he moves at this age and his arm action, and I liked it. But my upside underclassman is right-handed pitcher Sully Rosner from Bennett Academy. He's a 2029. Athletic upside frame at 6 foot, 152 pounds, and it's a baby face. He's has a ton of physical development still to come, and he was athletic, clean on the mound. The fastball came out really good. I think that was what really impressed me the most, was how that fastball came out. It was 80 to 81, touched 82. The off speed, his curveball, it had good shape, but didn't throw it super hard. You could tell maybe a little taking off the arm speed a little bit with the curveball and the changeup, but still they had good shape. And again, talking about Britton there before, the off speed as he continues to develop, he's only a 2029. As they develop, as they get more physical, and it's only going to get better. So really like Sully, the way that he moved and the fastball.
Gavin, I couldn't agree more. I saw some of his bullpen, and what I love about Sully is he comes from an athletic family. Dad played at UIC. Both of his older sisters are Division I softball commits. You mentioned it, Sully's nowhere near where he's going to be physically someday. And then you look back, he's been coming to events now since 2024. In 2024, he was 67 miles an hour. In 2025, he was 73.9. And in 2026, he's 81.9. These are the guys that we're looking for. These are the guys that continue to get better. And by the time they're 16, 18 years old, 21 years old, that velo is just on a steady incline. And that's what it's all about. Especially when you look at the way the arm and the body works. It's loose, it comes out clean, and there's so much more to come in there. That was by far our best look at Sully, and really excited to see what his future holds.
Drew, you speak of the athletic family and his dad and his sisters, but one of his cousins is Peter Pignatello, and then I don't know what side it is, but his also related to Colin Schweigen, and just a lot of athletes in that family. So there's a lot of good bloodlines there too.
No, that's a good call out. I mean, Colin's one of our favorites. Football, QB1, had potential to play football in college, probably maybe leaning more towards the baseball side now. We'll see, but he was a future gamer for us as a two-way guy. I think there's so much more to come with Colin's game too, especially on the mound. And I mean, bloodlines all over the place with that family. So definitely going to keep an eye on Sully.
I mean, the Pignatello thing, you just kind of broke some news to me. I hadn't heard that before, but I think the cool angle there is, all right, Peter's a talented 2028 also at Bennett, so have some family ties on the field here for the next few years. I think that's a really cool angle there.
And I think Bennett in general, coming off a state finals appearance with how many young guys they have coming through, they're going to be a school to watch here to see. I mean, first off, hey, how will they bounce back after last year? They think in the regular season they were just a couple games under or over 500 and made a nice little run there towards state. But plenty of guys to go follow. I'm sure we'll be out at Bennett. And once again, we'll see who in those 28s, who will even crack the varsity lineup. They may have to wait a year or two. But either way, exciting future there coming out of Bennett. There were just a couple things I wanted to mention. We've talked a lot about Lincoln Way East and just, for a public school, how much talent keeps rolling through those doors. But two 2028s that emerged at Lockport were Matthew Ritter and Malcolm Donaldson. Donaldson ran a 6.52. He led the event in 60 and took a really interesting round of BP. He's got athletic, twitchy hands, was 82 from the outfield, 90 peak exit velocity. Was without a doubt, when you run like that and take a quality, clean looking swing with some twitch, like we're going to be following you. So Donaldson got on our radar. And then at the same time, Matthew Ritter at 2028, he's a left-handed hitter. And we got to figure out exactly what the bloodlines are there with him and Ryan Ritter, who came through Lincoln Way East a few years back, now in the big leagues with the Rockies. But Ritter ran a 7.2060, flat path, loose hands, like athletic, looks right, and then also showed advanced actions in the outfield and was 87. So Ryan was a right shortstop, long levered guy. Matthew, left-handed hitter, plays the outfield, so a little different profile there, but gotta see what's going on there with the bloodlines, and just two guys from Lincoln Way East. They just continue to come out of the woodworks over there. Two really interesting guys to follow, and then Rock Island Alleman had Everett Smith and Jackson Smith come all the way over there from the Quad Cities, and huge shout out for to them for making the trek over. But Everett Smith was a 2029, Jackson Smith was a 2028. Jackson Smith showed like a lot of two-way potential. I saw his BP. He averaged 91.3 off the bat during BP, and like when you talk about projectable swings, like with more to come, I think Jackson just checks so many boxes. Like it was loose. There's all kinds of extension through contact. I loved the look of it. It's a gap to gap lifted approach, but without like trying to, sell out for exit velo or for lift. Tyler, you kind of mentioned that earlier. Like it's the way it should look. So just really two guys that I'm going to keep an eye on from Alleman. And somewhat surprising to see like them coming over from the Quad Cities, especially I know we ran the Peoria event. So really cool to see that. And the Smiths from Alleman will be two follows moving forward, two underclass follows for me.
Drew, I'm not going to speak on him during this podcast, but I just wanted to, he'll be in the quick hits. Another arm from Alleman, Karsten Caruthers. He was at the Peoria Preseason ID at 2027. I thought it was a really polished pen. So nice. Just to add there, another arm for Alleman.
To piggyback off that, I think we're going to have a good amount of names in that quick hits doc, Gavin, like you said. But I didn't see any of the arms, unfortunately. But there is one arm we were kind of chatting about offline before we hopped on here. And Drew, I think you have more history on this guy with just kind of his pedigree and everything. But looking at his numbers and just the overall notes we had on him, like seemed like Ian Crabb, right-hander out of Harrisburg, an uncommitted 2027, had a great day. Like just off like the top of my head, like fastball was up to 87, 71% strikes. He averaged almost 2,500 RPMs on the fastball as well. Just high feel throughout his pen. Seemed like he was able to throw all three pitches for strikes. His curveball was 76 to 77, showing sharp depth, thrown with intent, and then his changeup was firm at 80 to 81. And he also threw that pitch for 60% strikes. So Drew, I know you got a little bit more background on him, but feel free to get in there.
No, I love it. I love the call out. You want to talk about guys coming over from Alleman. Like, he's coming up from Harrisburg. So huge shout out there, Ian, for coming up and, like, really making a name for yourself. We saw you last summer down at the Southern Illinois Summer ID, where you showed very similar, like, intriguing stuff, but, like, peaked at 2,600 RPM on the fastball, and what the number that you can see it when you're watching his bullpen. Like I got my eyes on his bullpen. He averaged 20 inches of IVB. So like that thing is carrying, it's playing really true, and then it's kind of an over the top arm slot where his breaking ball plays really well off the fastball. It's a 12-6 downer, good spin to it. Like he's athletic. His brother Isaac came through a couple years ago, ended up pitching at Louisiana Tech, like Division I arm. He was also a two-way guy in high school, and the arm ended up kind of, I don't know the right way, but like ended up being maybe his best tool. So he ended up on the mound, and we'll see with Ian, like he's a two-way guy, but man, I really like the arm, and he's got a lot of he's checking a lot of boxes there that make it very hard for me not to believe that he's going to be an impact arm at the next level. And then Pete, I know one guy we've talked about a little bit about from Downers Grove, but Oliver Gibson, you want to talk about data darlings? Like he's from Downers Grove North. He's a 2027. He's got a compact 5'7", 173-pound frame, but like the loudest BP of the event when you just look at the numbers. Like it peaked at 106.8 off the bat with multiple 100-plus mile an hour exit velocities throughout his round. Big bat speed, averaging 73 miles an hour. But then the number that like really, really took me back was he ran a 6.760. So when you factor in that speed with power, like those are two of the biggest tools and most important tools these days when you're looking at prospects is, hey, how do you run and do you have power? So Oliver, like that's a guy, depending on what his role is this spring for Downers Grove North, like we're going to want to see him take some live in-game at-bats and see what kind of player he is on the field.